the GameCube is one of my favorite consoles. It may not have been the best-selling console during the 6th generation, but it sure as hell is my favorite. Today, I'm going to be looking at my top 10 favorite games for the system with 2 rules thrown in there. The first one is, I don't want to repeat any franchise twice. This adds some nice variety to the list and keeps it from looking samey. The second thing is, I want to keep this to Nintendo's first and second party output. So with those 2 slight rules being thrown in there, let's get right to it.
In 10th place, we have Mario Party 6. Now, this is probably my favorite of the GameCube Mario Parties because Mario Party 4 kind of just felt like a graphical update on Mario Parties 1 through 3. Meanwhile, Mario Party 5 tried to advance the item system by introducing orbs. However, I think Mario Party 6 better defined and ironed out this idea. It also added a really cool day and night cycle to the game, which changes how the boards work. It also changes the background of minigames, which I think is a very nice attention to detail. Mario Party 6 is also home to 82 minigames, with some of my favorites being Granite Gateway, Daft Rafts, Motown, and Snow Brawl. All in all, if I had to pick one party to bring on the GameCube, it would be Mario Party 6.
In 9th place, we have Pokmon XD. Having a Pokemon adventure like this on a console was absolutely mind-blowing at the times. Yes, the Stadium games were absolutely cool on the 64, I loved hooking up my games to them and playing with my own Pokemon, but there was something about going on your own adventure that was really neat. I also think that the Shadow Pokemon idea is also really cool, which is unfortunate that a lot of people pan it today. Shadow Lugia is also my favorite mascot for a Pokemon game, if we're counting that. Now, you could argue that Pokemon Coliseum could be on this list as well, but overall I thought Pokemon XD was a bit more polished, the animations were a bit better, and the Ore Coliseum at the end was a genuinely difficult task, which is nice to see in a Pokemon game, and unfortunately we probably won't see again for a very long time. In 8th place, we have Super Mario Sunshine. Super Mario Sunshine is in kind of a weird place. The other 3D Mario games are often acclaimed as masterpieces. Super Mario 64, Galaxy 1 and 2, and 3D World are all loved. Meanwhile, Super Mario Sunshine is often looked at like a lesser, younger sibling of those. And I think the reason for this is because it's just a bit less polished. Some things don't quite work as they're supposed to, but that doesn't change the fact that this is a 3D Mario game and it's so much fun. I absolutely love the setting, the beach setting in this game at Delfino Plaza. The music absolutely rocks too, and even though I'm kind of in that camp, I think Super Mario Sunshine does have its issues. It does have very strong level design, very strong characters, kind of a weird story, and all in all, I love this game, even though it definitely does have its flaws.
In 7th place, we have The Legend of Zelda Wind Waker. Wind Waker was actually the first Zelda game that I've played to completion. The typical Zelda gameplay of exploring runes and finding treasures and power-ups that make you stronger is very fun, and it still works very great in Wind Waker. In addition to this, you can also just sail around the ocean blue, listening to the game's sweet tunes, which is what I spent a majority of my playthrough doing. I'm usually a fan of exploring these great big open worlds, and Wind Waker was absolutely no exception. The cel-shaded art style was also very pretty, and I'm usually a fan of cel-shaded games such as Digimon Story Cyber Sleuth. Along with a great story, Legend of Zelda Wind Waker is definitely one of my favorite GameCube games.
In 6th place, we have Animal Crossing. This is probably the most nostalgic game on the list for me. This is because as a kid, you just had so much time. I remember waking up and just turning on this game and listening to the music change every hour. That's how much I loved this game. This game's soundtrack is definitely my favorite in the series by a long shot, and I just remember being like 10 years old, turning on the GameCube and just catching bugs and fish all day. Go dig up some fossils and just raise so much money. I've just did a quick year one run through of this game so many times, getting all bugs and fish, getting like the golden net, getting the golden rod, just because it takes me back to a simpler place when time was basically a non-factor and I could just enjoy myself. Even today, this may still be my favorite Animal Crossing. In 5th place, we have Luigis Mansion. I know this game gets a lot of flack because back in the day, a lot of people were expecting a Mario game. This wasn't exactly a Mario game, you could argue. This is more of a spin-off that stars his brother Luigi. And I'm really a fan of the setting of this. It just isn't really like anything else that Nintendo has done. A game that kind of has like a spooky vibe, but still embraces the goofiness of the Mario universe. I mean, just look at Egad and the Portrait Ghosts. They're all so goofy. Meanwhile, some of them still kind of have like a tinge of scariness to them. Due to the game's short length, this is one that I visit very often too. Probably at least once a year, or at the worst, every other year. In 4th place, we have Paper Mario the Thousand-Year Door. I am a huge fan of the original. I like turn-based games, but I can't agree with the criticism for the most part that they can kind of get boring. Once you select the menu, you kind of just watch your guy attack, and that's about it, really. But with Paper Mario, that's not really the case. It takes turn-based combat, but at the same time, it also has some real-time elements. So for example, somebody can attack you, and if you hit the A button, you will block the attack and it will do less damage to you. Your attacks will also not just land by you pressing A. You're going to have to do an action. For example, when Mario wants to use his hammer, you have to tilt the stick to the left and then let go when it says so. The story is also pretty in-depth, especially for a Mario game, and I just mourn for the days that we can get a Paper Mario that is just like this in the original. Now, what we have next is what I consider the big three. Between these 3 games, I have lost thousands of hours of my life. In 3rd place, we have Pikmin II. I adore the Pikmin franchise. It is just so much fun, and it has a very addicting gameplay element. The days only last about 16 minutes. This makes them short enough that you want to keep playing another, but at the same time, it kind of triggers the, let's get as much done as we can in this time. Pikmin 2 also supports caves, which its predecessor didn't have. I really like these because it adds some variety, and I kind of like the dungeon crawling aspect. It also encourages the game to add a lot of bosses and unique enemies, meanwhile only having 4 above ground stages like the original only had 5. The game also has a lot of charm. I absolutely love Olimar, Louis, and the President, and the Pikmin are so cute. The game is also very dark, because when you think about it, you control 100 of these carrots at one time, and they just do whatever you say, and that, a lot of the time, involves them getting killed. The Pikmin all have unique strengths and weaknesses, which is why in certain scenarios, you're gonna have to use all of them, and it just makes for a super addicting game and a very cute but dark atmosphere at the same time. In 2nd place, we have Super Smash Bros. Melee. I love Melee. I've spent so much time with my friends playing this damn game. We got really into the competitive aspect for a bit, and we learned all the tricks. Wave dashing, L canceling. There was a brief moment where we were trying to learn Fox, but we actually hurt our hands doing it because the tech is so involved. But this game massively improved over the original. It doubled its roster, even though, yes, a lot of them are clones. It added a brand new adventure mode, which is really cool. It also added a brand new All-Star mode, in addition to adding a lot of stages. For a GameCube game, Super Smash Bros. Melee has a wealth of content, and is still a popular esport to this day. I just adore the sped-up gameplay too. Gameplay-wise, Melee is still my favorite, and honestly, it probably always will be. In 1st place, we have Mario Kart Double Dash. The amount of time that I've spent in this game is probably more than any other game. There was a moment in time where me and my brother would just sit down all Cup Tour after all Cup Tour after day after day. There'd be some days where we would squeeze in 4 all Cup Tours. We both immensely loved the special idea because this just enabled items that Nintendo probably would not have put in otherwise. The items like Bowser shells are just so big and goofy, and when you have a lot of those thrown around the stage, things get really hectic. We're also a fan of the whole 2-person 1 card idea because this gives you reach on the specials. Because you can have, say, Mario for fireballs and then Bowser for a Bowser shell. The courses were definitely a bit hit or miss, but when they hit hard. The Bowser's Castle stage in this one is my favorite in the franchise, and stages like Dino Dino Jungle and Baby Park are as hectic as always and provide a hell of a time.
So yeah, this is my list of my top 10 favorite GameCube games. Obviously, yours is going to be a little different, so just keep in mind this is my list. I'm also only one person, so I'm not able to play every video game on the planet. There are 3 games in particular that I regrettably missed out on during this era. Those 3 are Metroid Prime 1 and 2 and F-Zero GX. Hopefully, I'll get to play them someday, and maybe then I'll revisit this list and change up any places. The console was also home to many great third-party games, some of my favorite being SpongeBob SquarePants Battle for Bikini Bottom, its sequel, The Movie Game, LEGO Star Wars 1 and 2, and The Simpsons Hit and Run, just to name a few. But all in all, I absolutely love this console, and it's honestly one of my favorites. That's it for now.